Good morning, everyone. Mr. Cohen here. I want to show you the first of a few videos on how to set up your computer to start programming in Java. So the very first thing we're going to do is we need to install IntelliJ and VSCode and a JDK. So I'm going to give you the pros and cons of each one. We should be focused on IntelliJ. IntelliJ is the one the professionals use and the one that you should be spending the most of your time with. The problem is it takes so incredibly long to load up the program. We're talking a minute or two to set up, to do a new project and everything else. While you may not think that it's a problem, it just takes a while. VS Code is quick. It's a text editor, which means it just takes text and there's a couple buttons. If you remember AdoptJDK from last year or the year before, you know what I'm talking about as trying to be quick. It doesn't have all the features of IntelliJ, but at least it's getting there. So let's go share my screen so we can see what we're doing. So the very first thing you want to do is you want to go to VS Code. So you're just going to go to Google or wherever, and you're going to just type in VS Code. Okay, VS Code. You're going to hit download. You're going to choose Windows, and I've already downloaded it. So let's double click and go from there. There's an acceptable use policy. We can talk about that at a different time. Let's accept, hit next. Let's follow directions. I've already installed it. We're going to create a desktop icon. And now I've done this a few times. It should get 99% of the way, and then it's going to fail at the very end. I think that's a school-issued problem. I don't think it's a real problem. But let's hope. This is fairly quick. Okay, we have this problem here. I don't think it's a real problem. Okay, we're going to launch. Okay, what bothers me the most about VS Code is that it has this welcome screen. If you just want to type someone's phone number or something really fast, it just throws your visual sense off, and now you can't just type. You have to close this, you have to do file new, and you have to go from there. We're not ready yet. So here is Visual Studio. Just a new file. That's it. Okay, this is your file area, your loader. You can search, you can do Git if you know source control. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're going to be focusing here is on extensions. So we're going to click on extensions, and we want Java. Specifically the Java extension pack. So I've already installed it. I'm going to uninstall it for everybody. It's 1 second. Now you can do Python, you could do a whole bunch of other stuff. We're working with Java, so we're going to hit install. It's going to do its thing. This is, again, fairly quick. And when it's done, it's going to ask us to restart. Let's do that anyway. Let's restart. So we're going to close this out. Now, that failure before was it couldn't put VS Code on the desktop. So I'm going to go look for Visual Studio Code. Click on it. And we're going to open up. Now, it should pop up here in a second. Welcome to Java, and what else we need. Now we need to install a JDK. I'm still waiting for it to pop up. Let's give it a second. Maybe if we change this to Java. Okay, now you see what I'm saying. Java overview. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff. Again, it pops up. Okay. We're going to close these little windows here. We have to configure things. So we need a JDK. So this is what they recommend to install. Just choose. We're going to choose it. We're going to hit download. Okay, yes. I've already downloaded it. Close this right here. Let's run this. We're going to hit next. We're going to accept. Sure. Default. Install. It's probably going to ask us to approve something. So Oracle wants crazy license restrictions. And while we're education and we can get it, it's why have to worry about that? Let's find some open source version of Java. They all do. Let's use the one that VSCode recommends, obviously, instead of trying to debug from something else. So we're going to hit finish. Again, the problem with computer programming, if you're working in design, is give some sort of visual cue that something was done. Let's go back in here. We did that. Let's reload. In fact, once this reloads, I'm going to close VS Code and I'm going to open it back up. A lot of problems you can solve by just closing it and reopening it. It's the joke. Did you plug it in? So we're going to open up VS Code again. Hopefully it pops up again. It pops up all the stuff across the top. Okay. We're going to close. Now, if all, see, it just pops up again. If all goes well, this should work. So I'm going to go File, New. Let's close this. We're going to do File, New File. Okay. I like to save mine at the very first thing. Let's write our Hello World program. We're going to save this to our desktop. Now, if you have some organization, you're going to choose your own organization pattern. But for me, for right now, just to the desktop, Hello World. Okay. I like to do .java. It's a Java file, so make sure you do that. You can leave this as plain text, hit save. Okay. And magically, things should pop up. Public class. Okay. Now we do public static void main string args. We're going to type a simple hello world. Let's save again. We are done. Now, if you hover over, you should notice if there's no errors. Now, I have this thing here, but if you hover over right above the public static void main, there should be a run and debug. We're going to hit run. And let's cross our fingers this works. This is always the hardest problem. And it does its thing. Notice hello world pops up. Okay, let's see what error here. This is probably something that doesn't affect us. It's a non-project file. We don't have it in a project. That's okay. We're not really worrying about debugging. Let's put an error here. Let's insert an error. Let's try to run again so you can see what we're talking about. Okay, you have this error here. You have to go back, try and find it. Okay, you can see, if you're careful, the little thing underneath. Okay, again, you should be able to run. Okay, and that is sorry, not IntelliJ, that is VS Code. Okay, again, it highlights, it does the syntax corrections, it does a whole bunch of nice things. I'm going to stop here. Let's work on the next video installing IntelliJ. I'm going to stop recording and we're going to go from there. Stop recording. And let's now move on to IntelliJ in the next video.